Michael Meredith. I am an architect and teacher. I'm definitely not, it's an impossible kind of question. I don't really have I'm not a comic book character in a way. So, I mean, to try to think about where you begin, I think it's an important thought, and it's an important exercise to try to, occasionally to try to understand the origins of something, I guess. It gets more and more complicated in a way the older you get. You know, I don't know the origins of what exactly, if it's as an architect or practice. You know, where that begins, I have no idea. It may have begun as a child. It may have begun a year ago. It's not really clear. It just is. It is a sort of continual search at some level, I guess, or it's just, you know, you're living your life and you're interested in certain things and you're doing your work. And so I haven't really had the, it's really hard. It even gets harder and harder. I feel like it's harder, as you know, I'm sure. It's like once you start to have a practice, even then it's more complex. It's not like you are you. You know, you are part of a whole bunch of things. And you are trying to manage all of that, and to even understand the origins or the authentic aspects of it is just an almost impossible exercise, and is doomed to failure at some level. So I'd say, you know, we've met a lot of people along the way that have helped us think. And, you know, I mean, where does it start? I mean, you know, I think as a child, you know, this gets into really corny territory at some level, but like, as a child, you know, I was just interested in stuff like art and music and, you know, was probably like a lot of people get into architecture is kind of probably was good at math and sciences, but really whose heart was in making crazy weird things and having fun with your friends and doing all that stuff. So eventually you drift into architecture because it seems like it's a more stable professional life, I suppose, which of course is a myth, or just depending on the type of architecture you're on. So along the way we've met, I mean, I think Yves Lambois was really important as a teacher. I think my education, as hard as it is for me to handle at Syracuse, was really important. I mean, I hated it at the time to some degree, but now looking at it, it's pretty important. And there are a lot of interesting characters along the way, a lot of very, you know, teachers can have incredible influence on you still. Like, it's almost too many. It's like I will leave people out if I start trying to name people there, and it's kind of embarrassing. You know, graduates, and then working in New York, just being in New York after that was super important. And just meeting a lot of people, like, you know, there's a whole group of people that work for everybody in New York that all know each other. They all go out to drink and they hang out and they share ideas and they badmouth all their bosses, and they think that only they could do it better if only they were given the chance, etc. And I think that is kind of this important moment in your life when you're out there and you're thinking, you know, you're talking to all your friends and you're building up a kind of network, a kind of generational network in a way that you know, eventually does start to take over the academy, actually, and it does start to take over the discipline of architecture. And so in that moment when you're trying to think about, you know, what is not quite right, what's missing, or, you know, how would you make it more pleasurable or better, is a kind of important moment. I think for us at the time when we were doing it, I think a lot of our friends and you know, just the group were probably way more interested in things like, you know, because we came out of a heavy theory moment, perhaps. We're more interested in things like just making stuff, honestly. We're more interested in trying to become architects, like real licensed architects, you know, trying to have practice. And so that's what a lot of us did. At the same time, I think I've always been concerned with that, thinking in a way, although I do like having practice. I wish we had more work, etc. There's something missing also, perhaps. So, you know, I don't know where I go from any of this, actually, as we're talking, but I'm not good with sermons or monologues. I think also just people, like, come on, we all just like making things. I mean, we're kind of crazy. I think some people are in it because they are looking for something, I don't know what, some sort of sense of success or celebrity or whatever, which is the scariest group in my mind. I think that the ones, but you realize that most people, even the top of the field, the star architects, are doing it because they just have some crazy passion for what they do. And I think that's the kind of most interesting thing, you know, like about it. It's not like, it's just that we're really we're just a real group of weirdos that really just enjoy strange things. So, and we have to talk about them and argue for them and then discuss them and then people, you know, you build support, etc., or not for them, I guess, and it happens naturally. I don't think you can really put out press releases and that works actually to build up your core support. It may for a short period of time, but it takes architecture is a long game to some degree, where you have to worry about your work. I think at this point, like, I don't think about origins anymore. I just think about the last project. So, you know, you're thinking about your last project, and your next project you're thinking, oh my God, I have to think about how does that relate to the last project, or in a way, or the last project even tells you what the next project's going to be, to some degree. So,